Hey, hello
Hi.
everyone. We're back for take two for our interview with Tanya. We're going to just start again because my internet or her internet or both our internets seem to have frozen. So maybe we'll talk faster and we'll get through this before that happens again. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm just going to start all over again because I know there are many people that want to hear the interview without a 5-minute delay. So for those of you that don't know Tanya, Tanya is a mom of 2 small kids. And she has a small business, and she's recently doubled her income in just 5 weeks. And she also lives in Edmonton, Alberta. And right now, she is more excited about her life and her future than ever before. And sometimes when you're a mom and you have 2 kids, remembering your future can be a difficult thing, or even thinking about your future beyond the next day and getting the kids to bed can be a tricky thing. So one thing that you've recently done is started the Thinking into Results program, and that's led you to some really simple yet profound changes in your life. So I congratulate you. And I know everyone here is going to be really excited to hear about them. So my first question to you is, what is the greatest benefit and the biggest difference that you've noticed since starting your Thinking into Results journey?
As I mentioned before, some of the greatest results and impacts in my life that I have had from the Sinking into Results program is like a focus on like daily tasks and like kind of an elimination of procrastination, just to get things done and to like ramp up and fire up my want to do things as well. And I find these like three elements have been like really key in my life recently. Just because, like you said, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so my kids are 3 and 5. My husband works out of town, so he's home like 3 days, 4 days a month, once a month, if that. So there's always so many things to be doing, just around the house and with my business, and creating that balance between being with my kids and hanging out with them and parenting and guiding them, as well as focusing on my businesses and getting them going and functioning and being profitable, right? So those are the differences that I've really seen lately, and that I'm super pleased about, and I'm excited to keep going in the direction of this positive change with them.
Okay, so you said procrastination.
Oh yeah, huge, huge.
What was the other one? What were the other two? I just want to recap. So
Um,
procrastination,
like focus, and like
focus.
in wanting to get things done, and like that want, that fire, that's like I got to burn through this because later I can do so many other things. Because I focus on my work once the kids are in bed. So by 8 o'clock, that's like my time, and I am downstairs in my studio and I'm working away
Right. And I think one
uninterrupted.
thing you mentioned is like sometimes finding that desire to focus is
Yeah.
tricky when you're like, I've just had a long day with the kids, but I'd rather surf Pinterest.
Oh, yeah,
Or
seriously,
watch
Pinterest
Netflix.
is it's my kryptonite. I will not lie. I personally love it. I think it's a great tool for like creative inspiration, but I find that, you need a time limit on it because you can totally get lost in like the black hole of like pins and stuff. But it's just the little things that I find like doing around the house, like especially in the last couple of months where we've all been home. You have like that gung ho attitude of, okay, great, we'll just get everything done. We don't have to go anywhere. But then after a while, it just kind of slips away. And then you find yourself saying, like, oh, do I need to do this today? I don't really want to do this today. And then it's kind of like your world around you is not necessarily falling apart, but it's filling up with chaos. And it's kind of like throwing you off, like unfocusing you, unmotivating you, just because you become so bogged down with what's around you. And it's kind of like you don't have, and nothing is like clean and fresh. And so that's where I find that TIR has really helped me in itself in wanting to get everything else finished, so that when I have to go downstairs to work, that I have that focus, that I am be able to just work and I don't have to worry about everything else around me.
You're back. You're back. Yay. So glad. So glad.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Sorry.
so one of the things that we were talking about is environmental stimuli, right? There's always going to be circumstances in your environment that are going to impact you. And often we look at how much money we have in the bank. The kids are having a fight. They don't want to leave you alone. There's laundry, gardening, like life to do. Oh, and then you have your business and you have yourself, right? So there's always going to be environmental stimuli and influences that are going to impact you. Now, when you start to not let those be an excuse for your behavior, for your choices, for your decisions, that's what you're basically saying. It's like, that's helping you focus. By not choosing to focus on those environmental stimuli, you're really starting to shift your perspective on things, right?
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm not allowing them to be like a negative aspect. I'm allowing them just to be, right? I mean, everyone needs to do things, and so if we just do them, then they get done. It was kind of in my thinking, right? And then, that's just one thing. It's over, and then like the next thing can come up. So it doesn't become overwhelming in the end.
And it is what it is, right? Like sometimes we look at what's going on and we let that stop us. And I think one of the things, what would you say led you to make the decision to doing thinking into results, right? Like, where were you at in your life? What led you to that choice to say, okay, I'm ready to actually start doing things different?
Basically it was kind of like around tax time. I was doing my taxes, and I really had set some fantastic goals for myself, or wants to reach. And I didn't even come close to reaching them. I was a little disappointed in myself. And I felt that in the past year, I had let my focus on my business kind of wean, and I wasn't actually giving it a solid effort. And I was like, well, we just moved, because we moved last year to Edmonton. So, I mean, I have to break through into like another market, and I have to get my name out there, and there's all these things, that I was always saying like, oh, I have to just, it'll change later. It'll change later. And I wasn't really giving it an effort. Sorry. Can you just, yeah, downstairs in the hole? No. sorry, right? So I'm not giving it an effort, but it's something that I would always find an excuse for. And I'm sure my husband can actually like give you confirmation on this, that opportunities would come up and I would honestly just pass them by. It would always be a time thing, or it would be like, it's not, oh, the kids, I have something with the kids to do, or, oh, I don't think I'll be ready. And so now I'm letting that go, right? I'm bringing into those opportunities. I'm embracing them. I'm finding the time to do it. I'm wanting to have the time to do it, and I am giving it a solid effort. And I find allowing myself to embrace that a little bit better has really changed the way that I have been able to do things. Yeah, in the kitchen, please. Yeah, in the kitchen, but just a little.
Sometimes we have. So you mentioned two things, right? You had these big goals, you had these dreams and desires, and you wanted them. But until you got to the point where you're like, this is really not where I want to be, you didn't want to make that change, right? There always needs to be like a carrot at the end of the road, but sometimes we need to get up to a point of having enough dissatisfaction in our lives that we're just like, okay, it's time to make a change.
Oh, absolutely.
And that shift, you had that shift, and you've chosen to take on a different mindset. And I love how you said it wasn't magical things you did with your business that made the difference, right? The biggest change hasn't been the fact that you're earning more money. The biggest thing is that you're doing things in your daily life in a more effective way. And that sounds simple, right? That sounds like so basic. It's like, oh yeah, fold the laundry. But how you do anything is how you do everything. And when you bring yourself to certain activities with a state of excellence, I mean, you're always thinking about, well, how am I showing up? Like, how am I talking to my kids? How am I conducting my business? How am I really bringing myself to the table? Do I want to have the same results I had last year I'm on track to have the same results as last year? Do I want those same results, or am I ready to make a shift? And you're constantly focusing on that and you're constantly keeping that at the forefront of your mind. So what was the, I guess you didn't necessarily go in with the intention of doubling your income within the first 5 weeks, but what was it that really led you to actually doing that, right? I think that's a question a lot of people have. It's like, what was the thing that shifted for you that got you to cross?
So there was a couple of things. Like just starting the program, like you host a weekly call, and just like listening to people and hearing the things that they were trying to accomplish. Honestly, it was like super awesome. I was like, this is great. Other people can do this, then, then why aren't I doing things like this? And it kind of got me thinking like, I can just, a small change or being more mindful or, instead of like reacting to things, I would become like more like questioning or thoughtful or thinking it through or being like, if this is a result I keep getting, why do I keep doing A if I don't get B? It's kind of like in that instance where I was like, okay, these small things are awesome. And then it kind of just led to like, honestly, I listened to my mother. I know I'm going to say that out loud. I listened to my mother. She had an idea. She's like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? And it kind of went on for a couple of weeks. And I was like, and then one day I was like, okay, well, why aren't I doing this? And so I did what my mom suggested. And honestly, it was like that small idea and her persistence in telling me all the time that got me thinking like, hey, okay, this is a good idea. And so being able to take her advice and not with a grain of salt, but embracing it and embracing a change, it allowed me to make big changes in my life with just small things, with saying yes or a leap of faith or embracing an opportunity that I wasn't open to before.
There's often when the old model isn't working, create a new model. Right?
Yes.
That's one of the big things. You haven't gotten to that part of TIR yet, but you were already applying the philosophies and those principles. And I think that's a beautiful thing because just by recognizing, just by doing the work, just by changing the mindset you brought into it, all of a sudden you started recognizing what wasn't working and started making the changes because you were asking yourself better questions. And the quality of your questions determines the quality of your life.
Yes.
The quality of your answers determines the quality of your life. The quality of the language you speak determines the quality of your life. And it's the simple little things that you don't notice on a regular basis until you actually take the time to do. And I think it's kind of when you're in the study, when you're in the program, you know exactly what that means. When you're not, you're like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. I've read that book. I've watched that YouTube video. Because you've watched a lot of YouTube videos. You've heard a lot of books. Like you've known about this program for a couple years now, right? But it wasn't until recently that you actually said, I think I'm going to do something about it.
Well, and honestly, in full disclosure to everyone, like I was very resistant to self-help and to reading any sort of book to help me better myself. I was always in that mindset that, I'm fine. I don't need to change everything around me. I can just fix it. But then it just kind of feels like, you get so weighed down and there's always something that you can do. And, sometimes you feel hopeless and you just feel so down and you're very negative or your energies are down or you just honestly sit there going like, I don't know what to do. And so, it goes with that mindset that it does as honestly, it's a choice that you have to make yourself into changing or, learning something else or embracing an idea that isn't something that you would normally be doing. And, a small concept like that can absolutely change your life, or the direction you're on or, things like that.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I love that. I think it's beautiful because sometimes we don't want to admit our resistance to things. Like when I first heard about personal growth, I heard about it and I started secretly listening to the audio cassettes in the car. I was like a closet self-help person before I would admit it to the people that actually recommended it to me. And then once I started learning and growing and seeing a difference in my life, I got out of the closet. And I got better results when I started sharing what I had learned and really seeing a difference in my life. And I think that's like, even for you, this is a new path and you've seen results. And I think that's something that we don't always recognize. We don't even take the time to recognize, right? To actually take the time to step back and say, well, what results have I gotten? And you're like, damn, that's a good result. I just doubled my income. Maybe something's working. Maybe I can learn something from this. Maybe I can keep going. And like you took the responsibility, right? You made the decision. You're like, I'm gonna find the time. I've got 2 kids. I have a business. I don't have spare time, but you found the time, and you do work on yourself every single day, because it's not like you just sign up and it's like, woo, you actually have to do something, right? There is study involved, and some days might be better than others, but every day you're doing something in terms of training your mind. It's like bicep curls for the mind. It's like going to the gym for your mind. And you've invested money and you've invested energy into doing this for yourself. And whenever I think we invest those 3 things, time, money, and energy, that shows ourselves and our higher being a commitment, like a true commitment. Because you can say, oh yeah, sure, I'm going to do it. But then wonder why you don't get the results, because you haven't on all levels really invested in yourself to tell the universe, I am serious. Like, this is my time. This is mama's time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what would you say to someone who is thinking or considering thinking into results, or even just someone that needs a shift in their life? What would you suggest to them? What would you tell them?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it's just one of those things, like, if someone is desiring something or even thinking about it, that is you telling yourself, in my opinion, that you need something else, right? Like, we crave growth, we crave learning, we crave to be mentally challenged, we crave to be physically challenged, we crave so many things that I think we just try and like bombard them with something else. But I mean, it's your mind telling you, it's you, like yourself inside telling yourself in your mind that you need more. And if you are looking for more, then seek more. Like, don't think that investing in yourself is something that's not worth it. Just embrace it. Think about it. I know, like, I've just started TIR, but I feel like, and I feel as I go deeper into the course, I feel as if what it has to offer is going to only get better and only keep enriching the things that I have already learned and the things that I have implemented in myself and the things that I have put out to the universe. It is only going to get bigger. You have to have that faith. If you want something bigger, go out and grasp it. And I feel like sometimes what we are missing is perhaps some guidance, or, more of a streamlining, or of a need to help focus or bring our ideas together. And I feel TIR has really helped me gather all my thoughts and kind of put them into like kind of like an arrowing path, and allowed me to go forward with that. I hope that helped. Sorry.
Okay, well, so let me recap. So basically, you're saying you have all these thoughts everywhere in the universe, and then TIR says, okay, let's put them in the right place. Let's give you a system or a roadmap or some way to contextualize it. Because I think life is busy, and life is crazy for so many people. And for many of us, I know recently we've been able to simplify life. And for me, I didn't realize, I knew my life was busy, but I didn't realize the impact it had on me or my family. And since simplifying life, I know I've been able to make profound changes. And so simplifying your thoughts, clarifying everything that it is you want, everything you're doing, makes a huge difference. Like when you're baking and you have a recipe, it's easier to make a good cake.
Yes.
Instead of just winging it and never having stepped foot in a kitchen before and expecting a good result. So, it's the same thing. I think TIR is your roadmap. It's a roadmap. It's a recipe for living that beautiful life. And you've really done a terrific, terrific job. I know I'm not going to share your goal, but I know you have a really, really fantastic goal. And this is just scratching the surface. Like, this is just a teeny tiny little piece of it, that every tiny success, whether it's doubling your income, whether it's putting your dirty socks away in the laundry hamper, or putting your laundry away in the morning, or saying that beautiful comment to your kids, or interacting with them differently, whatever it is, that is going to make a huge difference in so many aspects of your life. And I know, like with your babies, that's a huge piece of it too, right? You mentioned within your first part of the program, you're like, wow, I'm interacting with my kids differently.
Yes.
And that's not something that's like so precious. That goes way beyond monetary value, because that's shaping the future. And so, I don't know, are you going to cry? I'm like,
no, it honestly, like it is incredible. I mean, we have definitely seen a shift in our family dynamic. Here, kind of like our stress level has really gone down, and in a good and positive way. There's less things, that I take to heart and I dwell on, and there's more time. Well, maybe not like more time, because no one can make that. But like, we're finding joys in doing things together that I would normally just be like, I'll just do them myself, right? So, I mean, I'm wanting to teach and learn the kids more. We're finding more things to do together as a family, and like every day is a learning curve for everyone. And so, I mean, we just take it day by day, and some days are more awesome than others, but I don't think there's any way to really get past that. I mean, or change that. I mean, like you said, life is always changing, and it's always giving you different challenges. And it's just something that you need to embrace and, find your solutions and not focus on the problems.
amazing. Well, thank you for taking your time out of your day and having your children very occupied for this interview. They've been amazing, and you've been amazing. I
Thank
think
you.
if anyone is interested in learning more about thinking into results, then definitely reach out. I'm open to getting on a call to see if you're a good fit for our program. And the rest of this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm putting on a 3-day masterclass on mastering your sales mindset. And we're all in sales, whether you're selling your kids on how to eat broccoli, or whether you're selling someone a product or a service, or even yourself in a new opportunity. You are all in sales in one way or another. And when you show up to your job, to your work, to your life with a really optimal sales mindset, it's a game changer. It really, really is. And so we'll be talking more about that this week. So there will be a link in somewhere in this thread. Melanie, I think Melanie's just popped it up there. So thank you, Melanie. And I hope to see you guys soon. So stay tuned, stay plugged in, interact with the group, ask Tania questions, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'll see you the rest of this week. I'll chat with you later, Tania.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, Larissa.
Bye.
Bye.